Well, we all want to see all of these businesses continue to function and survive within our village. Again, not to use the same answer, but some of it is certainly out of our control. I know as far as Lion Metal, we've worked long and hard with them to try to keep some presence here in the village, but for their own business reasons, they've chosen to relocate to other areas. Caterpillar is another good example. Unfortunately, Caterpillar is not technically within the limits of the village of Montgomery, but we also have worked very hard with them. Our mayor, Marilyn Michelini, worked with them. They had announced a product line that they were going to launch here in Montgomery and have turned around and since rescinded that. So we're very receptive and very proactive in terms of working with these businesses, because if we don't have them, we're not going to have the jobs, and as a result, we're not going to get to where we need to be.
Okay. Martin Flowers.
Well, Lion Metal, I have a very dear friend who depends on Lion Metal for the business. I definitely, anything we can do to help support to try to keep these jobs here. Once upon a time, there were 3,000 jobs over that plant, and today we're down to less than 110 people. It's just another example. We've lost several manufacturing jobs here in our area. Caterpillar, Dial, Armor Dial, to name a few. AT&T's closed its doors down at the Western Worker property. You know, what can we do? From the city council standpoint, to be sincerely honest with you, other than addressing that we heavily sympathize their cause, trying to advocate, increase, what we can do from a municipal standpoint to create jobs, maybe there is something else we can do. I've heard several people talk about the economic development corporations. Well, again, something about long-term regional planning. If we can work with Oswego, Yorkville, Aurora, and we can all band together, create our resources, it's all going to benefit us. 75% of the people in Kendall County today leave my county to go to work. I don't want that. I want 25% leaving, but 75% staying home, and they're working here. And that's where we're going to create the tax dollars, and that's where we're going to start putting dollars and the services back for the people. Thank you.
Josh Salisbury.
Well, I think as Trustee Felton said, a lot of that with Caterpillar and Lion Metal is kind of out of our control. The best we can do as a village and a board is support them in any way that we can by offering any services or help that we can to keep those businesses here and running, and try to help them create jobs and get more people to come into Montgomery and work.
Robert Waldron.
In terms of looking at Caterpillar or Lion Metal, you have to look deeper. You got to look at at one time, 3 of my uncles worked at Allsteel. Fortunately, 2 were retired. 1 was forced into early retirement. Our area used to be just a hub for industry, and over time, Caterpillar Allsteel took their operations elsewhere. Essentially due to reduction in labor costs. As was alluded before, I think we do honestly, sincerely have to take a regional approach to this. We have to come to the table before it's too late. I think sometimes maybe that's where we find ourselves, where we get the news, oh, this business has announced they're closing their doors. Sometimes we take and give incentives to lure business, but maybe we should, from a regional approach, because like I said, Caterpillar, they're not in Montgomery, but maybe Aurora, Oswego, Montgomery, Yorkville. We need to maybe create a committee that addresses some of these large manufacturing and employment companies before it's too late, and see what we can do. Unfortunately, decisions are made elsewhere. For Caterpillar, Peoria, Lion Metal. We have them now, and we want to maintain them. And it starts with making them know that we need them.
Thank you. Stan Bond.
There have been good comments already. I just had a couple more thoughts. These companies may have special events or programs of importance to them that we may not be aware of, or that we could help them with if we knew more about. So I would encourage us all to be more sensitive to any event that's happening at those companies that the public should know about, and that could bring us closer together, that we can support them. They've certainly been good about supporting us. And we've got to look for as many opportunities as we can to show them that we really care, that they're here. Those are well-respected international names, and we're very fortunate to have them in our backyard. We also know a number of their employees. I wish Pete Hines were here tonight. He's a retired CAT employee, and he could probably speak pretty well to this subject, but your neighbor may be a CAT employee or an all-steel employee. Let them know that they're important to Montgomery and we care about them. And I'm going to come back to the Mill District for a minute and talking about Lion Meadow. Having said in some of those Mill District meetings, I think we had another sketch that showed Lion Meadow facility turning magically into something else. And I believe there was a pretty awkward moment where it became apparent that we hadn't really talked about that with Lion Meadow. And it came as a surprise to them that our plans were such. And we can talk about plans being not set in stone or long-term, but the fact is they're plans. And they can hurt feelings. They can show people that maybe they're not important to our long-term vision. It's a clumsy moment when we do something like that to a local employer. They've been a top 10 employer here for 10 years. So we need to be a little more thoughtful, I think, in our own approach and take our own plans a little more seriously and how they might affect others as well.
Thank you. And Matt Crowley.
We just have a couple examples. My neighbors work at CAT on one side, the other side they work for Aurora Bearing. It's two vastly different scenarios. Aurora Bearing recently upgraded and moved into a new building in Montgomery, and they stuck around, they'll be here. And Caterpillar did the opposite and shifted some of their production elsewhere. One example, or one thing that we talked about in the past, or that I brainstormed about, is the Lion Metal building is not in great shape. I don't speak for the owners of that building, but I know that the roof is leaking and they could have various other problems. If that building has served its life for them, and they've been here for a great deal, a number of years, then perhaps they would be interested in moving into somewhere else in Montgomery, into a new facility that they could stick around in our village. Maybe the board could visit some financial incentives or anything they could do to keep those jobs in Montgomery. But we would have to figure out exactly what those companies need and